Hello and welcome to the 16th episode of OK Takes. I am Matt Weiner, and as always, I'm joined by my fellow capo, Edward Vento. As of 7:15 p.m. West Coast time, authorities have traced the green laser that flashed in Max Muncy's face to the tri-state area's very own Dr. Doofenshmirtz. So following that whole shit show, we will discuss another shit show that comes in the form of Matt Beaty pinch hitting when he wasn't supposed to. So that was insane. And then we're also going to discuss the ebbs and flows of the bullpen. Sunday's beatdown, that could have been an absolute disaster. So we're recording after the top of the eighth inning, or at the top of the eighth inning, we're up 9-4. So hopefully we won't get old takes exposed, but there is that chance. So in case anything looks really ugly, that is why. All right. Let's set the stage for the one of the weirdest, like we always have like top 10 weirdest things that happen this season. We have Nacho Man, and then this is also up there, the green laser. So ninth inning, Max Muncy was up, tie ball game, down two strikes to Mets reliever Edwin Diaz, and he suddenly stepped out of the box and motioned towards the outfield stands. Like there was an actual laser, and then they actually cut to it, and you just see a green all over his face. So what were your initial takes for what was going on?
Well, my initial thought took me to the Euros. And I don't know if you remember this, but during the Euro semifinal between England and Denmark, it was a penalty shootout to decide that game. And an England fan was shining a laser in the goalie's eyes during the penalty shootout. And everyone was like, this is horrible. The match should be replayed, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, didn't get to that. But that was what immediately popped into my head was this was just a callback to the Euros. And I was like, wow, this people are still really shitty. Like fans haven't learned how to act civil.
You think? Well, one, like, okay, just as humans, we're never gonna figure out how to be nice to each other. I don't think you should show. I think you should just applaud the people who are being civil, and not the one who's not being civil at a baseball game or at any sporting event.
Yeah, true. People as a whole will never be civil.
We just got to accept that. But then the second part is this was like callback central. There's 1,000 callbacks. So I'm just going to do my own Galaxy Brain meme order of callbacks. First is Green Lantern. That's the top one. That's kind of the basic brain. Second, Michael Scott's nephew, Luke, in the conference room. Third, a random professor from the third story at the St. John's campus firing it in and just missing the whiteboard. And then fourth, and ultimate galaxy brain blown out of this world, Mike McCarthy told Dr. Evil to install a laser on the moon, point it in Muncy's eyes for a real life mojo moment. So like this is gonna be in the next episode of Hard Knocks, him showing players that this isn't an asinine motivational technique, and then backfiring on him because the Mets lost and Muncy struck, even though Muncy struck out, the Mets lost.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if Mike McCarthy was pulling the strings.
He has to. He has to because the like the stars are there. You just got to align them yourself.
Yeah.
This is my ultimate stay woke. And
we
then,
are a woke podcast.
Yeah. Oh, very. You'll never find two bigger snowflakes in the world. Yeah, I'm actually canceling my shirt. I'm wearing a Saints shirt. Canceled.
Wow. Wow.
So in order to deal with this absolute catastrophe, Edward and I are going to come up with some punishments for what should be damage to the person pointing the laser. Because in the words of Dwight Schrute, you just damaged the groin of the head. So what is your first punishment? So we're just going to ping pong them. So what are you going to start with?
Okay, well, I started basic. Ban him from Citi Field. Ban him from Citi Field. Like you like a fan should not be allowed to impede the player's like I guess vision while he's trying to play the game of baseball play. Like this is his career. Like what if Max Muncy went to where this guy works and started shining a laser in his eyes? How would he like it?
He probably
so just sorry, I'm just starting basic and saying ban him from Citi Field.
Well, I mean, you could probably still say, "Would you like fries? Would you like fries on the side?"
Yeah, it would not hinder his job at all. So don't do it to other people, man. Come on, get out of Citi Field forever.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's fair. My first one is he just has to wear the same pair of contacts for a month straight.
Yes. No. Yeah. No changing them out. No using solution. Just keep them in there.
1 month, 31 days. And I can't wait till you have to get them surgically removed. All right, then what's number 2 for you?
He should never be allowed to buy a beer in LA or the surrounding areas ever again. Like this guy should come to LA and feel like he's not welcomed in any bar.
Hmm. He should have, let me see, only allowed to buy water at any place he ever goes: liquor stores, restaurants, gas stations.
Yeah. And in LA, he's not even allowed to buy water.
Okay, so he's just gonna die.
He's
So
only
we
allowed
banned it. Yeah.
he's only allowed to get free water from restaurants.
Okay, but then he could also, but he's banned from getting the free water cup, but then not being able to use the soda machine.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, and then so we'll have somebody on standby ready to slap it out of his hands
Oh
if
yeah.
he gets Sprite.
Someone will be watching him at all times.
Okay, I'm glad we have a big brother working for us. My number two is the Three Stooges get to do the two-finger point for the length of an entire Mets game.
Talk about being embarrassed.
Like Larry and Mo get to let it rip for 3.5 hours.
God.
Actually,
Oh,
I'm gonna take that back. The length of a Mets doubleheader.
Ooh, that not going too far?
Dude, an eye for an eye.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Literally. All right. What is your third and final punishment?
He should personally have to fund Max Muncy's MVP campaign.
Yeah, that's not happening.
he should be the guy that walks around and does all the press junkets and says, you know what, Max Muncy for MVP, reads off all the stats, does the press conferences, because this guy should be a finalist.
100% should be a finalist. He should be used as a heckler. Oh my God, he should be planted as a heckler in press conferences for Max Muncy as a way for Max Muncy to dunk on him to make him look even better.
So yeah, he should be the setup guy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, and then my third and final punishment is, like I said earlier, Muncy goes eye for an eye, and then Muncy gets to point a laser at him until he can't tell the difference between Trident and a U.S. Capitol rioter.
That wouldn't take very long.
Fair. Okay, then he has to do it with Corey Knievel.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's better.
He has to do it until Blake Trinan starts to look like Aubrey Huff.
Yep, perfect.
Actually, shout out Aubrey Huff because he actually got suspended from Twitter.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm kind of sad. I actually loved, like, okay, talk about, like, some people have like Real Housewives of Orange County for their guilty pleasure. Mine is Aubrey Huff's or Twitter account.
That's your guilty pleasure.
What are you going to see that's more awful than that?
Outer Banks.
Okay, I haven't seen that, but okay.
Yeah. That show is the definition of a guilty pleasure.
Well, fuck, now I have to watch it.
Yes, you do have to watch it.
Okay. Live review coming soon.
Okay, good.
Not. Okay, and then game one also gave us another classic mental blunder from Roberts and Beaty. So 2 outs, no one on. Matt Beaty's going in to pinch hit for Julio, at the top of the sixth inning, which was really weird because Julio was cruising through 5. He had really good command. He only had 82 pitches, no earned runs, like 5 or 6 strikeouts. And we watched Beaty going up to the plate, and then players are yelling at him. Like Chris Taylor was waving at him to come back, like he was Forrest Gump waving at Lieutenant Dan. He was giving him the big fat like back and forth wave, like come back, come back. Like Fabian Ardaya even has a hot mic of them all saying for Matt Beaty to come back. That was fucking bizarre.
That was one of the weirder things I've seen in a long time. And then later on in the game, the laser happened. So it kind of got surpassed. But yeah, I don't know that I've seen that before where the pinch hitter is just completely on a different page as everyone else in the dugout.
Mm-hmm. No, that's when that game was a classic SNL skit.
Oh, yeah. It literally did not feel like real life.
Mm-hmm. I went to New York.
Yeah, that place, man. It just gets the worst out of people.
The weirdest.
And the weirdest, yep.
The weirdest. But my favorite part was this whole thing because, and thankfully, it really didn't matter that much in the end. We could have could have possibly used Corey Knebel later on. Not the worst thing though. But here's Robert. When Roberts was asked about in the presser, or in his post-game presser, he said Julio Reyes was done pitching for the night, but the Matt Beaty miscommunication just was about burning a bench bat with the bases empty, rather than just have Reyes take his turn at the plate. A miscommunication. Like miscommunications do happen in baseball. Like we see it all the time. Outfielders colliding on fly balls, like a pitcher and a catcher getting mixed up. Somebody take like just we might not see all of them, but there's a lot of times where signs are misinterpreted.
Misinterpreted.
Okay,
Yeah, misinterpreted.
okay. I'm not
That's a
just an
weird
idiot.
word. We're gonna lock that word away.
Okay, all right. I like that. We'll put it in the same area as Aubrey Huff's Twitter account.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah, I do not understand this. I just don't. How is that a miscommunicate? How do you miscommunicate? Go up to bat. Don't go up to bat. Is this not black and white?
It is. Do we really think Dave Roberts though, like went up to Matt Beaty and said, "Don't go hit"? Like unless Matt Beaty just had his AirPods in and was completely tuning out everything, I think it was up under the impression that he was gonna go up there and hit, and then for some reason they wanted to change it, and I don't think Dave Roberts got to him in time. But there is no way to miscommunicate that. Like, come on.
Makes no sense whatsoever. Or if you put Roberts under a polygraph test, there's no way miscommunication comes up as complete as the truth and nothing but the truth.
No way.
It's going to be his version of I did not have sex with that woman. I did not have sex with Monica Lewinsky.
I did not. Yeah, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
There's no way that is just a miscommunication. I will never get over that.
Yeah.
And
No
then
way.
yeah, so now we're going to get into actual game talk and not just stupid commentary and dumb thoughts galore. All right. So where would you like to kick off actual game talk from these past three games, and hopefully while recording it's going to be a sweep by the end of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, well, for that first game, I mean, it was kind of a wild game one. Jumped out to, I believe, a 4-0 lead. Bullpen comes in, gives up 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Pete Alonso's juiced. The crowd is going crazy, and it feels like, oh my God, here we go again. It's a close game. It's going into extra innings. And then Will Smith, man, like that guy, he is clutch. Like one thing that this series has taught me, which he's homered in all 3 games, is that he is clutch. He's a guy that I want up at the plate with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th because he usually delivers. And he did in game 1, and it led to back-to-back wins in extras, which, whoa, I never thought I'd see back-to-back wins in extras, also by 1 run both times. So, but yeah, it was just a crazy first game that kind of ended in a spot I didn't think we would be in when we went up 4-0.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of back and forth about the bullpen decision because you could it's really hard to say whose fault it was. You can kind of point a finger at a couple different people because you have Bruiser Gratterall flying through the top of the 7th bottom of the 7th. He gets 2 strikeouts right away. Conforto slaps a double down the line, and then Robert takes him out, puts in Justin Brule, and he can't get any outs. And then he gives up a blooper. Conforto scores and then walks 2 guys, and then a blooper scores 2 more, and then it's like, oh my God, now you have runners in scoring position. Blake Trinan comes in, wild pitch, all knotted up at 4. So I still don't care about who's in there. Just get the fucking out. It shouldn't be. You're not asking for a big favor. Just take out the trash cans. That's all you're asking for. Doesn't matter who does it. Just take out the trash cans. It's not small of a favor.
It took 3 pitchers to get the last out of the bottom of the 7th inning. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Gratterall came in, struck out the first 2, looked like I would have left Gratterall in, but it's over. It happened. We won anyway. Gratterall gives up the double, gets pulled. That's one pitcher that couldn't get the 1 out. Then Brule comes in. He doesn't even record an out. And it takes Trinan to come in and record that 3rd out. So it took 3 pitchers to record 1 out.
Mm-hmm. But then we got the monkey off our back. It was awesome. Just Will Smith, first batter of the inning, ding dong. And the Will Smith tour is actually very interesting because I will say it. I've said it before early in the season. I didn't have this take till earlier in the season, like around May, but I'm still sticking by it. Will Smith will have at least a 30 home run season
this year.
Not now, but in the future. I think he has potential to be within the 2020s, when we look at top power hitting catchers, he's going to be one of them.
Oh, I totally agree. I think he's a generational catcher, especially at the plate.
Because like for generational catchers now, we're not going to see anybody put up close to Mike Piazza numbers. Like that's nowhere near achievable, and you don't really need that from Will Smith. But he's going to be somebody that is going to be like he's a memorable. He's a player who's going to get remembered for a long time as far as Dodgers catchers go.
Absolutely.
And this series was kind of the springboard for that.
Yeah, and I mean he's going to keep hitting fourth and fifth in the lineup, and he's going to come up in a lot of big spots. And I have the feeling that he's going to deliver a lot of big hits in his career.
So now let's shift to game 2, and the Walker Buehler Cy Young tour continues, which is like starting to realize how insane this is, that every episode when we meet up, or every other episode, it's Walker Buehler Cy Young talk. And we're going to keep on doing it. We're going to keep on banging the drum as loud as possible so everybody can know that Walker Buehler should be, at least as of right now, the Cy Young.
Yeah, we're going to keep beating that dead horse, whether you like it or not. That dead horse is not getting a single day off because his ERA is down to 209. Like, he pitched another 7 innings of 1-run ball with 10 strikeouts, 4 hits, 3 walks, whatever. Like, he was dominant again. And let's not forget that this same game, Taijuan Walker had a no-hitter through 6 1/3. Like, this was the pitcher's duel that the Philadelphia Rain robbed from us. What we thought we were getting between Nola and Scherzer, we got between Walker and Buehler.
Which is pretty crazy, that the combination of Walker and Buehler, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. That lines up perfectly.
It's awesome, isn't it?
That is for the old heads. That is for like the random guys who live in Oxnard, who've been Dodger fans who are like 75 years old. Where that's how they get their jimmies rustled.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was honestly, though, I laughed obviously because I made the joke here today. I thought it was funny when I saw it on Twitter. I'm not gonna pretend like I came up with that, but it was a great pitcher's duel until it wasn't. And I mean, to say a 2-1 game isn't a pitcher's duel, but when both starters get yanked, it's like, okay, this is not. I mean, I guess it became a bullpen duel at that point because it was 1-1. And then Cody Bellinger delivered in the extras, and back-to-back one-run wins in extras.
And then just shout out to Vesia. Like, I know there's other people involved. You have Bigford and Knebel pitched as well. But Vesia has been the biggest surprise within the last month. There's nobody who has shocked fans, and talk about old takes exposed. Yeah, like ring me up.
Ring me up too. I was at Phil Bickford's head. Like, I was ready to never see that guy again. Or not Phil Bickford, sorry, Alex Vesia.
Don't talk to our king like that.
Yes, I'm sorry, Phil. I'm sorry. If you're listening, Phil, I'm sorry. I was ready to get Alex Vesia off their roster. Never want to see him again. And now, like, slowly, I'm like, I want to see this guy in leverage.
Well, because who else? Like, we're just so desperate. We have more holes than a wiffle ball for our bullpen. Every single day, it's something new. And then, like yesterday, Julio Urias is going to go on the IL for 10 days for a calf injury. Like, there's just an injury once every 3 days, if not day by day. It's just every time you wake up, any day that ends in Y, there's going to be a Dodgers pitcher that's hurt.
Yeah, and I mean, somehow this team keeps winning games. There's, whether we like it or not, no matter how far behind we are, they're 7-3 in their last 10, soon to be 8-2 if they close off this one tonight. They're winning games. Just unfortunately, the Giants are too.
It's going to be one season where I just don't believe that we're going to overthrow the Giants, but I'm okay with that because I know we'll have plenty. Like, I'm very comfortable with a matchup against the Padres.
In a wild card game?
Yes, I'm very comfortable. I don't want to be cocky about it and haughty, but yeah, I like where we stand.
Well, and it is worth noting the Padres, I can't remember. I saw this stat. The Padres head into a stretch now where they play like 20 of their next 22 games are against opponents above 500, and the Reds, who sit like 3.5 games behind, go like 18 for 20 with opponents below. So if the Reds are going to gain ground on the Padres in that wild card division, it's going to, or wild card division for that wild card spot, it's going to be now.
Well, and then today Tatis went like four or like five or whatever, had like two home runs and a double, and it's like, well, fuck me.
Yeah. And I mean, look, they're not going to pass us. I'm not worried about the Padres passing us because they're, what, 10 games out of first. And I think they're 6 games behind us. So if we think we're out of it, then what are the Padres as far as the division goes?
Exactly.
As far as the division goes. But like, yeah, like you said, 1 game playoff where we get to host it. I like our odds.
I love them because now we for sure have a clear ace. There's that's kind of a knock against the Padres is that I'm still taking Buehler over any one of their starters.
But do you throw? Here's the thing: Buehler is proven to be really, really good on the road in the playoffs. So do you throw Scherzer in the wild card game to have Buehler lined up for game 1 in San Fran?
I mean, I take it 1 game at a time. That's exactly where I'm sitting, is that I don't care about anything that happens besides those 9 innings. Those 9 innings are, you treasure them and hold them as if they're the last. Each inning, you just feel like that's the last one you're ever going to play.
Yeah, you're smarter than me. You know, if I had to pick one guy on the mound to win me a game right now, it'd be Buehler. I don't know why I'm overthinking it, but I like to overthink. It's who I am.
It's the Dwight Schrute kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Maybe I need to learn more from Dwight.
I think so. But yeah, so and then let's talk about today's game, because what we saw today and what makes and I think it ties into what we just talked about is that when the Dodgers are at their peak, it is better than when the Padres are at their peak, which makes me so happy. So happy, because look what the offense did. Within the first quarter of the game, we're already up 6-0, and it's just ding dong central.
Yeah, and I mean, I love how. I'm sorry, I'm a big Padres hater. I love how they're a 3rd place team. They're 10 games out of first, 6 games behind us, and they're still using a swag chain when they hit a home run. Like, they got to act like they've been there before, but I guess they've never been there before. So how can they act like they've been there before if they never have?
All the time, props usually do not end well. They just don't. You just, for whatever reason, it's fun. It gets the team riled up. It gives this fan base something to crowd around and to hype up and to use as gifts for when it happens. But it usually doesn't end well. It just doesn't. It's either there, and that's what I love about the Dodgers, and that it's nice having a lot of veterans, is that they've been around the block. They know how to win, and the rah-rah stuff, bullshit. It's just rubbish. It's just balls.
Stick to the on his head, the T.O. Albert hugs, and that's how you win.
Everybody's happy. You know how you win baseball games? You're just happy. Like, I think my dad said it today, where he just said everybody looks like they want to be there, and everybody it's just cohesive, where everybody is just pulling. I think Tommy Lasorda used to say everybody needs to pull the rope in the same direction. There's nobody who wants to take more of the rope and pull it somewhere else, and then everybody's fighting against each other. It's very free flowing, and it's just natural. It just looks like nothing's forced. The swag chain is, they saw Miami do it, and they're like, hey, I wonder we should probably reinvent that. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't. Being a good person and being a good teammate means a lot more than a fucking swag chain.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you know what helps? Being good at baseball, hitting home runs, and just doing all the little things, showing up on time. Like, there has been, and that's what I love about this year's Dodgers especially, and had maybe a little bit in the past with Puig, but have we ever heard about any clubhouse drama?
Not really. I mean, not amongst the players, no.
Exactly. There's a lot of overthinking going on, I think, when you look at like teams that are really exciting and flashing, but they just burn out. And the Dodgers are built to last.
And that's why this core group of players has been my favorite team to follow probably ever, like sports, like ever, just because just think about it. We've had guys like Seager, Turner, Bellinger, Taylor, like Kershaw, like we've had the Kenley, we've been able to follow these guys for 6-7 years now, and we've seen them grow so close and be like so together that like when they add a new star, like they add a Mookie, they add a Trea Turner, they add
Billy
young
McKinney.
guys. Okay, yeah, they add young they add young guys, like guys that haven't been there that long. I guess you could say like Buehler, Gratterall, like they fit right in. There is no awkwardness in that clubhouse, and I have just loved following where this team has gone from Adrian Gonzalez, Matt Kemp, and Yasiel Puig to now Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner, Seager. All those guys are so close.
Well, I think when Phil Bickford during his introduction press conference, he said, like, he was describing, people were asking like how are things going, like, are you getting along with the guys, how's that going? And he said they're just a bunch of dudes, which is the greatest compliment you could ever give somebody. He's like, they're just a dude. It means he keeps it simple, he's amicable, there's no drama, nothing gets complicated.
Just guys, man.
Just dudes having fun.
Yeah.
But I have one final take. We're gonna talk about just how abysmal the defense was. But this offense, the way they could just jumpstart, especially it starts with Trea Young. Like Trea Young for me is DeAnthony Thomas on Oregon, where at any moment, like he could just house a kickoff to start the game. You go into every single coin flip knowing that if you get the opportunity to choose to defer or receive, you're receiving, because you can start the game up 7-zip in the blink of an eye. And that's how I feel with Trea Turner, is that he could start something that will affect the rest of the game and just put you on top and just gliding, smooth sailing after.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, he's the guy to get it going. He's the spark plug you need to start a game, and if he gets on base, it's like an automatic scoring chance, no matter where he is.
I just love that idea of that, like, at any moment, DeAnthony Thomas, especially in like the Rose Bowl against Wisconsin, at any moment, if he comes around if there's a play for an end around for him, and you see him drifting to the side of the line, he's gone. I love that feeling, and it's kind of like Tyreek, similar way, where at any moment you could have a 75-yard bomb on your hands. Yeah. All right, and then let's listen to the game, because there was actually, speaking to Trea Turner, he giveth and he taketh, because there was a lot of ugly baseball during today's game.
Yeah, I mean, he ground ball to third, should have been a routine double play, and he dropped it. And then there was a ground ball to him at second, and he starts to stumble, and he can't get the ball out of his glove, and the runner's safe at first. I think it was it the pitcher? No, it was the pitcher on the one that was dropped at second. And then earlier on in the game, Will Smith decides to throw to third, like, for whatever reason. And then Seager had a blunder. It was just a really ugly defensive game.
I think the worst one was even worse than like Trea Turner's, because Trea Turner, I think that's just a once in a million kind of hopefully once in a million kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for Will Smith, that was really bad, because we have runner on second base, and so first and second, or second?
Runner on second, one out in the first inning.
Okay, so dribbler and peel onto his dribbler right in front of home plate, and Will Smith goes to third, and you could even see Justin Turner, which was horrible the whole entire way. As soon as the ball lands in front of home plate, and even like it's not even stopped, it's like still in motion, he's pointing to first, pointing 1-1-1, and Will Smith picks it up and throws to third. He's safe, which is so ugly, because Will Smith, if he saw Turner pointing, he still could have just flipped his hips around the other way and thrown Pete Alonso out at first, because we know how you don't get called the polar bear because you have some wheels.
Yeah, he knows, and he knew it too. Right after he threw the ball, he knew. He was like, "Oh fuck," because right then and there, the tying run is at the plate.
Yeah. So, and also not to mention that like the Mets were like 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position, and like 0 for 9 against Scherzer.
Yeah, that really helped.
Because we could have easily been looking at like a 9-6 ball game, because Scherzer, thankfully, he got out of it, but. Yeah, he could be looking at even like a 9-9. Like they could have taken all the momentum as well and ran with it.
Yeah, Scherzer was not at his best, but he also didn't have a lot of help around him. So that's why I can cut him some slack. But
Mm,
there were a lot of defensive plays tonight that really I thought were like, okay, this is where the Mets are gonna take advantage of our shitty play, and they just never could. And we're lucky we caught them without Baez and Lindor, because if one of those two guys comes up in that situation, I'm not sure we're having this same conversation where we can joke about it. I think we'd be a little more upset about it.
mm, definitely, definitely. All right, so that will be wrapping up episode 16 of OK Takes. So we talked everything from this past, hopefully sweep. Like, pretty sure it's gonna be a sweep. Don't want to get too old takes exposed, but talk about Muncy Laser, Matt Beaty wandering to the field like a senile old man, and then we talked about the deep defensive blunders, bullpen, all things great. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. And if you would like to follow us on social media, you can find me find myself on Instagram and Twitter at MattWeiner20. If you'd like to follow Edward on his Instagram and Twitter, find him at Edward_Bento. And who gives a flying fuck what we have to say? Make sure to follow OK Takes on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at OK Takes Pod. That is OKAY Takes Pod. Takes 1 second. Appreciate it a ton. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful day.